Okay, welcome to the September 27th Flux Dev Meeting. Sunny, go ahead.
Okay. Uh, we have been trying to convert some of the objects to be static objects, like the objects that don't require any reconciliation and don't really need anything to be reported in their status. And some examples of those are in notification controller, like alert and providers will be made static. So there won't be any reconciliation for those objects, and they will not have any status as well. And in source controller, helm repository OCI is a similar object which doesn't require reconciliation. Currently, it has a reconciliation which doesn't really do much. It checks if the URL is a valid OCI URL and tries to log into the registry, but the login may not be accurate. Like it can show that helm repository OCI is ready, but when helm chart tries to use this helm repository, it can encounter an authentication failure because helm repository OCI doesn't know about the chart that helm chart will pull. So there is a chance that the chart access is not there, but the registry host is accessible. So it creates confusion to the people, and helm repository OCI doesn't provide much. So, and the URL validation can also be done in the API, Kubernetes API validation. So I attempted removing or making the helm repository OCI static to see how it changes helm chart. So I started by deleting the helm repository OCI reconciler. So there's nobody to do anything to the object, and the associated helm chart continues to work fine. Now, similar to notification controller, we have to do some migration for existing objects. So any old helm repository OCI which has a status needs to be migrated to the new object that doesn't have a status. And in case of notification controller, we are adding a temporary migration reconcilers which will convert the all objects to new objects. But in case of helm repository, we already have a default reconciler for the default helm repository. So just use that to do the migration. So, and there is a predicate. Rules are like if the object has OCI type, then the default helm repository reconciler can try to process it, and it will not reach the full reconciliation. It will only check if it has OCI type, and if it has, it will do the migration. Migration involves removing finalizer, removing status, and if in this case there's no artifact. But if you convert a default helm repository to an OCI object, there is an artifact. So migration from default to OCI involves removing the artifact as well. So I've been testing this. It's been working fine. I just wanted some feedback. I pasted a link of the pull request, which is a draft right now. And there's a snippet of how the object looks like. There's an empty status at the end. In case of notification controller, we don't have the status because we're removing the status completely from the API. But in case of helm repository, we cannot do that because the default helm repository type needs a status. I think it's fine, but I needed some input, feedback. Any question? That's the story.
Okay, thanks for that.
Any question? This will not result in a new version of API. This will be the same API version. I don't think we need to. No question?
So what status will we have status on Helm repository at all, or no status now? What you're
No
saying?
status. Right. it will be just empty, nothing. And Helm chart doesn't care about Helm repository status when it's OCI.
So I'm just trying to think through what is the tangible impact on the debugging experience for people.
Shouldn't be anything. I think on Monday, somebody was asking for this. They were saying, my Helm repository shows that it's fine, it's authenticated, ready, but Helm chart is failing. So it seems to be something people encounter often. So questions? You can leave any feedback in the pull request itself. That's it for my topic.
Okay, great. All right, I see we have one other agenda item on the agenda today. It's Matthias's question about TF controller.
Hi. So yeah, the question is actually, is this a good place to ask questions about TF controller? Or is there a better place like another meeting or something like that? That's the question.
That is a good question. And I would say that this is a good place to ask, except the TF controller maintainer is not here. But I don't know of a better place to ask. So why don't we have your question on the recording at least, so we can refer Chanwit to the recording. Give him a
Cool.
time index.
Okay. Well, in that case, my question is if TF controller has any plans to support OpenTofu.
That is another great question, which I don't have the answer to. But I imagine it's a hot question a lot of people are asking right now.
Yeah, I opened an issue in TF controller repo
Super.
for the question. Yeah. Well, that was it.
Yep. I may or may not have insight into things like that that I can't share because I don't know if I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. So, but yes, please open an issue.
Cool. Would the Slack channel be Flux, or is there like a separate channel?
There is a TF controller channel, I believe, on the Weaveworks community, Weave users. Yes, TF controller on Weave users. That's slack.weave.works if you're not a member.
Weave users?
Yep. Weave as in Weaveworks.
Oh, but like, is that public?
Yep, it's the Weave community Slack for users.
Oh, right. Should been there for a while.
I think the CNCF Slack is a lot more popular.
Yeah, it's the one I use. But yeah, I didn't know about this one. Okay, thanks.
Yep, you will probably get a direct response from Chanwit if you post there.
Cool. Thanks.
I recalled a few more things I wanted to discuss regarding the previous topic and repository of C, I think. I think we need to update the RFC or create a new RFC, I'm not sure. I have added the link to the RFC design doc, RFC 0002, where there are some implementation details that mention about the secondary concealer, which I'm removing. I'm not sure how do we deprecate or and remove things from RFCs. Any idea? update the RFC. Okay. I also wanted to mention the related thing. So the notification controller V1 Beta 3 API for alert and provider, which makes alert and provider static, is also ready for review. I've pasted a link. People can try and review. It's ready. That's it.
Okay. If we don't have any other agenda items, then this is going to be a short meeting today. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to discuss? Give you a few seconds for any second thoughts, but looks like the answer is no. So thanks everyone for joining us today. And have a great week.
You
Bye,
too.
everyone.
Bye.